Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare Lincoln penny coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Have you ever come across a 2009 Lincoln penny and thought, it's just another 1-cent coin? Well, think again. That small copper piece in your pocket might just be a hidden treasure, especially if it's the 2009 Lincoln penny from the Professional Life series. This isn't just a coin. It's a tribute to one of America's greatest presidents and a potential gem for collectors. In 2009, the United States Mint released 4 special Lincoln cents to celebrate the bicentennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth and the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln cent. Each design tells a chapter of Lincoln's life, and the third design, known as Professional Life, is one of the most iconic. This penny features a young Abraham Lincoln standing tall in front of the Illinois state capitol, symbolizing his years spent as a lawyer and legislator in Springfield. It captures a time of great promise and ambition, before the presidency, before the Civil War, before the legend. But what really makes this coin special isn't just the design. It's the hidden details, the rarities, and the errors that have collectors across the world on the hunt. And if you're lucky enough to spot the right one, that 1-cent coin could be worth far more than its face value. You see, while millions of these coins were minted, not all are created equal. Some were struck in higher quality finishes, like satin or proof. Others were released only in collector's sets, making them much rarer in the wild. But the real prize? Error coins. There are several known errors with the 2009 Lincoln Professional Life penny. One of the most famous is the double die variety, where parts of the design, like Lincoln's hands, the columns of the Capitol building, or even the text, appear slightly duplicated. These doubling errors happen during the minting process and make the coin incredibly valuable to collectors. Another key factor is condition. A coin that has been handled, scratched, or tarnished may only be worth a cent or two. But one that has been perfectly preserved in mint state, especially if it's graded MS 67 or higher by a professional grading service, can fetch a much higher price. Combine that with a rare error, and now you're talking serious money. Now imagine discovering one of these in your pocket change or coin jar. That's the dream for every coin lover, finding a rare, high-grade error coin just lying around, waiting to be noticed. It's what makes the hunt so exciting, and why these 2009 Lincoln pennies are still being searched for today. So, what kind of value are we talking about? You're probably wondering, is it actually worth anything? Let's talk real numbers. A standard 2009 Professional Life penny in circulated condition might only be worth its face value. But a high-grade, uncirculated coin certified by a top grading company has sold for as much as $25. Now, if you come across one of the rare double die errors, especially in mint condition, you're looking at values that can climb up to $150 or more at auction. And here's the shocker. Some of the highest graded error coins have been auctioned for as much as $450. That's right. From just 1 cent to $450, all depending on the condition, grade, and error rarity. So next time you find a 2009 penny, take a closer look. You might just be holding a hidden piece of history, and a small fortune. Top 2. How much is a 1980 Lincoln penny really worth? You might think it's just another common coin. But what if I told you that certain versions of this little copper beauty could be worth far more than just 1 cent? In fact, if you're lucky enough to have the right one, you might be sitting on a collector's prize without even knowing it. Let's take a deep dive into the fascinating world of the 1980 Lincoln 1-cent coin, why it's special, what to look for, and how even the smallest minting error could turn your penny into a valuable find. The 1980 Lincoln penny is part of a long-running series that began in 1909, honoring President Abraham Lincoln. These coins have been in our pockets, purses, and jars for generations. But 1980 marked a unique time in U.S. coin history. It was the final full year that Lincoln cents were struck entirely from 95% copper before the big switch to a mostly zinc composition in 1982. That makes the 1980 penny one of the last of the heavyweight copper cents, weighing in at 3.11 grams. That copper content alone gives it a little more intrinsic value, but there's more to the story. Most 1980 pennies are extremely common. Hundreds of millions were produced at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. So if your coin has a D or no mint mark at all, you're holding one of those mass-produced versions. Still, not all 1980 pennies are created equal, and collectors are always searching for the rare exceptions. What really makes the 1980 penny interesting for collectors are the rare mint errors and high-grade examples that have survived over the years. Let's talk about those. One of the most popular errors to watch for is the double die. This happens when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly, causing elements of the design, like the date, lettering, or Lincoln's features, to appear doubled. These double dies are extremely desirable and can increase the coin's value dramatically. Another exciting variety is the off-center strike, where the coin wasn't properly aligned when it was struck. Depending on how far off-center it is, these errors can be worth much more than face value. And if the coin shows partial or missing design elements, like a faded Liberty or date, it might also be an error coin caused by a weak strike or grease-filled die. Then there's the die crack error, where raised lines appear across the surface of the coin due to cracks in the die. While minor die cracks are more common, dramatic or unique ones can still add collector value, especially when they're shaped in unusual ways. But what gets collectors really excited is condition. A 1980 penny that has never been circulated, with a perfect red finish, full luster, and no marks or wear, can be worth significantly more, especially if professionally graded. Coins graded MS-66 or MS-67 red by companies like PCGS or NGC are the kinds of coins that can command high prices at auction. Now, let's get to the part you've been waiting for. What is a 1980 Lincoln penny really worth? If you've got an average 1980 penny that's been in circulation, it's probably worth just its copper value, maybe 2 to 3 cents. But if you have one in pristine, uncirculated condition, its value could jump to between $15 and $35 depending on grade and eye appeal. But if you're lucky enough to have a rare double die or dramatic off-center error in top condition, the value increases significantly. Some of these error coins have sold at auction for over $100, and the highest recorded auction price for a perfect mint state example? That one sold for a surprising $1,200, yes, you heard that right. A 1-cent coin from 1980 sold for $1,200. That's why collectors are still hunting for these coins in rolls, jars, and pocket change. So next time you come across a 1980 penny, don't ignore it. Look closely, check for mint marks, examine the details, and if it looks flawless or shows something unusual, it might be more than just pocket change. You might be holding a piece of hidden treasure. Top 3. Have you ever held a 1967 Lincoln penny in your hand and thought, it's just 1 cent? Well, think again. That small copper coin could be much more than spare change. If you know what to look for, the 1967 Lincoln penny might seem common at first glance. After all, over 3 billion of them were minted. But what makes this coin fascinating to collectors isn't just how many were made, it's what was happening in American coinage at the time, and the rare details hiding in plain sight. Back in the mid-1960s, the U.S. Mint was under pressure. A national coin shortage had forced some major changes. To speed up production and discourage coin hoarding, the Mint removed all mint marks from coins between 1965 and 1967. That means your 1967 penny won't have a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco, even if that's where it was made. This decision was temporary, but it makes 1967 coins historically interesting, and a bit of a mystery. You can't tell where they were minted just by looking at them, but here's where it gets exciting for collectors. Even though billions were made, not all 1967 pennies are created equal. Some carry rare mint errors that can dramatically raise their value. One of the most popular and valuable errors is a double die. This happens when the coin design is stamped twice, slightly misaligned. Look closely at the date, the word Liberty, or In God We Trust. If any letters or numbers appear to have shadows or double lines, you might be holding a double die, and that's a big deal. Another sought-after variety is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin isn't perfectly aligned in the press. Part of the design may be missing or shifted. If the error is dramatic and the date is still visible, these coins can be quite valuable. There are also die cracks, which look like raised lines across the surface of the coin. They occur when the die used to strike the coin starts to break. While minor cracks are common, large, visible ones, especially near Lincoln's head or the rim, can attract collectors. Now let's talk condition. Most 1967 pennies have been in circulation for decades. They're scratched, dull, and worn down. But if you find a coin with full red luster, sharp details, and no signs of wear, that's a mint state coin, and it's what collectors dream of. The highest grade examples are rare and highly prized. So, what's the real value of a 1967 Lincoln penny? If your coin is circulated and worn, it's usually worth just 1 cent. But if it's in brilliant, uncirculated condition, it could be worth between $5 and $15. And if your coin has a rare error like a double die or a dramatic off-center strike, its value could jump to over $100. The most valuable 1967 Lincoln penny ever sold at auction went for an incredible $540. Top 4. You might have a small fortune hiding in your pocket, and not even know it. That simple 1981 Lincoln penny could be worth far more than just 1 cent, but only if you know what to look for. The Lincoln cent has been a staple of American change since 1909, but the 1981 version holds a special place in coin history. Why? Because this was one of the final years the U.S. Mint produced the penny using a composition of 95% copper. In 1982, the penny's makeup changed to mostly zinc with just a thin copper coating. That makes 1981 one of the last, true copper, years, which already gives it added interest among collectors, but there's more to the story. The 1981 Lincoln cent was struck at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. You can tell by looking just under the date. If there's no mint mark, it was made in Philadelphia. A D means Denver, and an S indicates San Francisco. While billions of these coins were produced, not all of them are ordinary. Some are hiding secrets that could make them surprisingly valuable. Let's talk about what collectors are really hunting for: errors. These are mistakes made during the minting process, and they're what turn an everyday coin into a rare collectible. One of the most sought-after errors in 1981 pennies is the double die. This is when the die that strikes the coin has a misalignment, creating a shadow-like effect on the lettering or numbers. If you see doubling on the words "Liberty" or "In God We Trust," or even the date itself, that's a sign you could have a double die error. Another rare and valuable error is the off-center strike. These coins are not aligned properly in the press, resulting in a part of the design missing or pushed to one side. The more off-center the strike, especially if the date is still visible, the more desirable the coin becomes. There are also coins with die cracks, where the metal shows raised lines from a broken die, and even broad strikes, where the collar that shapes the coin fails, causing the edges to spread out. And then comes condition. A coin's grade, from circulated to mint state, dramatically affects its value. Most 1981 pennies in your change jar have seen decades of wear and tear. But if you happen to find a penny that's still shiny, untouched, and perfectly struck, that's what collectors call a red, uncirculated coin. These are far more valuable, especially when professionally graded. The San Francisco minted 1981 penny is also found in proof sets, which are coins made with extra care and detail. These proof coins are not meant for circulation, and if you find one in flawless condition, it can bring much higher prices. So how much can a 1981 Lincoln penny really be worth? If you have a regular, circulated penny, it's likely only worth its copper melt value, just a couple of cents. But an uncirculated coin in mint state can be worth between $10 and $25. A rare double die error in high grade has sold for as much as $150, and one exceptional proof penny from 1981, graded in perfect condition, sold at auction for an incredible $1,150. So next time you're digging through your change, don't overlook that 1981 penny. Take a closer look, because what seems ordinary might just be something truly special. Top 5, and last rare penny. You may have seen it hundreds of times, a simple penny dated 1971. Just 1 cent, right? But what if I told you that some 1971 Lincoln pennies are far from ordinary, and that a single coin from this year could be worth far more than its face value. Yes, the 1971 Lincoln 1-cent coin might seem common, but certain versions have become hidden gems for collectors. And if you're a coin lover, or just someone who loves the thrill of hidden treasure, this is a coin you'll want to pay attention to. Let's start with the basics. The 1971 Lincoln penny was struck at 3 mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. If your coin has no mint mark, it came from Philadelphia. A small d indicates Denver, and an s means it was minted in San Francisco, often in proof sets. These coins were made mostly from 95% copper and 5% zinc, which gives them a little extra value in metal content alone. But what really makes some of them valuable are the mint errors and their condition. Now here's where things get interesting. One of the most exciting finds from this year is the 1971 double die obverse, a rare and sought-after error where the coin was struck twice with slight misalignment. If you look closely at the date, the word Liberty, or In God We Trust, you might notice letters that appear to have a shadow or duplicate lines. That's a classic sign of a double die, and collectors love it. Some 1971 pennies also show off-center strikes, where the design is shifted to one side. These errors can be dramatic, especially when a large portion of the coin is blank but the date remains visible. That kind of mistake makes your coin instantly more desirable. You might also come across broad-struck pennies, where the coin was minted without the collar in place, causing it to spread out wider than normal. And there are examples with die cracks, clipped planchets, or repunched mint marks, each one telling a story of how something went wrong during production, and making your penny a unique find. Now let's talk about condition. The majority of 1971 pennies have been in circulation for over 50 years. They're scratched, dull, and worn. But a coin that still has its original red shine, with no signs of wear, is considered mint state, and those are much harder to find. The highest quality coins, especially those graded MS 66 or higher, are what serious collectors chase. Proof coins from the San Francisco Mint are another level entirely. These were never meant for everyday use and were specially made for collectors, with polished dies and mirror-like finishes. If you have one in flawless condition, it's definitely worth a second look. So, how much is a 1971 Lincoln penny actually worth? If your penny is circulated and shows wear, it's usually worth just 1 cent. But a high-grade mint state coin can bring in $20 to $35. A rare double die error in top condition has sold for over $180, and one pristine proof example from 1971, graded at the highest level, sold at auction for an incredible $1,150. That's right, from 1 cent to over $1,000. That's the magic of coin collecting. If you enjoyed this video and love discovering the hidden value of everyday coins, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a treasure like this. Drop a comment if you found a 1971 penny or have one in your collection. Who knows, you might be holding something special. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep checking your change, because even the smallest coin can hold the biggest surprise.